My question to all the panelists present here: when designing high rise buildings, how can architects and designers effectively integrate diverse functions such as residential, commercial, and recreational spaces to create a vibrant and self sustaining urban ecosystem? Let's start with Pooja. What are your thoughts about it?
Looking at the need of the hour, because of the situations that have developed in the entire world, COVID, I think even in the high rise, it should be thought that mixed use should be encouraged. Wherever we are planning a high rise building, I feel that the plan should be open, flexible, and it should try to integrate. I mean, it should not be restricted to just current needs. It should think about the future needs of generations to come. And moreover, now that we are moving high from the ground, the connection between the ground is somewhere lost. So I feel it also gives an opportunity to uh, make that public realm go up in terms of having terraces and multiple uses where people can come, and it becomes a community in itself. So I feel that probably it is time that in high rises we think about multiple uses or mixed use or high density sort of arrangement.
Thank you, Pooja, for sharing your thoughts. Shiti, would you like to give your input?
Yes, I would take it from where I think Pooja has stopped, and I would start somewhere at a 360-degree preview first. That what we're talking is the audience of high rise, right? And we as architects have a huge responsibility on the shoulders because, specifically in our country content, talking of a high rise and taking someone to occupy a vertical limit is a big challenge. We have grown up in an environment and we know that everything is related to ground. So the very first aspect is that let us know and rather spread to know that we are going to raise the limit and we are going to touch the skies. After that, once we are doing that, are we leaving the ground? We have to understand that. Because as far as the building is concerned, the footprint is small and you raise high. When you start to touch the sky, you have not to lose what you have got below. Especially country like ours, we have huge lands and beauty content, natural scapes. So when we are rising high, we have to actually bother more that we don't lose what is already available on the ground. Of course, I say that there are quite a lot of advantages. You have those noises, you have those pollutions, parameters which are damaging at the ground, you are leaving them on the ground. But then just consuming the sky after consuming the ground, we have larger responsibility. And as an architect or being into a community, you have now two things on your shoulders. What you're taking from the ground, consuming, you are actually evacuating, you're rising up, consuming the sky, and you have to leave more for the occupants.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. We completely agree with you, Shruti. Mr. Raghav, would you like to put your inputs in?
Yeah, I would, add up on what, Krishti ma'am had addressed. We are always looking at, working on projects where our biggest challenge is to sort of have the connectivity to the ground, or we are working towards providing facilities so that in each level in a high rise, people are connected towards or connected first of all, and then they have all the amenities and the facilities around them. So right now we're working on luxury projects where people have facilities what they have on a villa or sort of an open ground. They don't feel like they are in a high-rise structure. So this is what is the demand, and we are trying to address the evolving demands in the the user sector. What arises from initially our challenge was only light, ventilation, basic design brief. Then it started evolving to having double story houses. And now it has become even more. They would like to have sort of their own bungalow in a high rise with a view and with a sort of connectivity to the ground, rather than they having the feeling that they're detached from not just luxury, even an affordable housing sector, which is one of the biggest sectors in India, where there's a gap between the demand and supply. Is that what is lacking is that connectivity. So people if we sort of remove them from slums, they refuse to go to these high-rise buildings, which the government sector plans, is that they don't have this sort of connectivity with the ground or the facilities. So that has become a challenge, and we are trying to address towards that.
Indeed. Mr. Sheikh, I would like to know your thoughts from an MEP perspective.
No, I completely agree with all the architects. It's really kind thoughts from their end. I do agree. Actually, high rises are the need of our. If we look at this scenario right now, high rises are the need of our, and we should have an integrated high rise. It should not be only a residential building. It should not be only a commercial building like that. It should be a mix of all. Even we can have some hotels at the top. A couple of floors can be a hotel also. Addressing to the MEP challenges, definitely there will be services which are going across for different utilities. It will be different for the parking areas. It will be different for the basement. It will be different for the residential. The services demands are completely different, but that can be easily addressed. We are doing it in many of our projects, and it can be done. Coming together with the architects, with the structural consultant and the MEP consultants, we can definitely achieve this. And this is very true. We need to achieve something called this ground connectivity issue. We have to address it. We may need to have some amenity spaces or some green areas above also, touching the skies. That's
Right. All right. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Mr. Sheikh. Moving on to Ms. Pooja, my next question for you is, when integrating design and sustainability into high-rise buildings, how do architects and designers balance innovative design concepts and sustainable practices? Can you share any inspiring examples where this integration has been successfully achieved?
Yeah, sure. I would like to start from, the thing is that sustainability probably or sustainable design approach is something which is, it's become essential when you are doing high-rise buildings. We can't, as I think everyone would agree, we can't escape from designing or making high-rise buildings because of the urbanization. The city currently needs high rises. So one of the approach that we have noticed, probably because everywhere we see glass buildings, that is something which is very common whenever we think of high rises. But I feel that probably we can go back to our roots and somehow bring passive design strategies that we used to follow for small build in our and think about how passive design strategies can be implemented in high-rise buildings. And I think that can become a starting tool or a starting point to develop high-rises which are climate responsive. So I feel that maybe passive design strategies is a new, it can be developed in some manner as a tool to think about high rises. And I think later I'll present one of the examples that Morphogenesis has done successfully. And it's a build project in Gurgaon, Mahindra, where we have used traditional planning, traditional bungalow planning, and converted it into a high-rise building.
We would definitely be very keen to know about those projects done by Morphogenesis. Shruti, moving on to you. How do advancements in smart technology shape the architectural design of high-rise buildings? And what are some transformative ways these technologies enhance functionality, energy efficiency, and occupants' comfort?
Right. I will break your question into two parts, actually, because we are actually talking on North Pole and South Pole when we are talking of this question, right? So when you take this question, one part is actually, are we really talking of technology? Then in what manner? The undercurrent which builds the high rise, or technology which the occupant is going to actually utilize, right? So believing that, because we are definitely shaping something which ultimately the user has to use. So I believe we are talking of technology which is going to be the end product. Okay. And how is that being put to the user, right? With an example, if I talk on this, if I just talk on vertical transportation, that's a technology. Building it takes a procedure, and that is our part. But accessing it, it's the user's part, right? But there is a huge difference when your occupant actually gets into this vertical transportation, which is where we have to withstand. How does the advancement actually talk to the consumer on the working platform? One is this. Second part into this is, while doing this, we have to understand, as such, being in construction sector, we are known to consume lots of stuff in every manner. This I'll talk in detail when I'm on the slide as well. But overall, the volume of things we consume is pretty huge. And the same way, the output which we are offering as, let me say, a energy efficient building, which is commonly termed to a common man that natural light hona chahiye, good ventilation, no foul smells, good environment. Wow, what a skylight. All that is good. But authenticity of staying in a high rise and enjoying this ground has a huge leverage, right? That is what I think Mr. Raghav also talked about, which is the common confront we face to convince the user standing from the ground that going on the 22nd floor makes a lot of difference. Whatever you will do, unless you take the ground at his level, or you convince him that I'm equally happy to stay here, that has to be dealt very meticulously. Otherwise, whatever you may design and whatever you may sell, the end line is, we can see often so many buildings up till third, fourth floor, they are occupied, and it is still really difficult that you aren't able to sell what is being beautiful. So we have to actually get into, it's not energy efficiency with only the natural resources, it's actually the mental energy efficiency which the user has to accept of what we design. And we have to take care while we do. So I think I'll talk in my slides in detail on this also.
Thank you, Shruti, for sharing such intriguing thoughts. Moving on to Raghav, in the era of intelligent buildings, what ethical considerations and potential challenges to architects and designers face when incorporating advanced technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning into the design and operation of high-rise building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to answer that question, what you have raised, lot of challenges we have been facing even in our credit card, debit card, and all ethical hacking and all. We are facing a huge, in terms of data. There's a lot of travel for us to reach that stage in incorporating that into a facade or into a high rise. But what we have been working on is to sort of collect and assimilate data on a high rise building. In terms of data, you mean sun data, in terms of wind, and in terms of occupancy level in each floor, and how do we optimize energy on each floor, and how do we design based on sun data? How do we sort of have a facade which can be dynamic and which can adapt like that? And in terms of intelligent facades, in terms of intelligent construction, we way behind. Like I have been working in Spain a decade back, and we have been working on projects in Middle East and in the US. So we have been incorporating sensors inside the high rise, and there is a forum where we can upload the data, and designers all around the world will collect that information and design in terms of an urban fabric. And back inside the building also, like I had another co-speaker addressing about the comfort, about the human comfort inside the building. So with these active sensors inside these high-rise buildings. We collect data and see uh, which floor or which particular room is exposed to much more sunlight in a particular region. Say in Mumbai, the sun path is like that, and there is so much of radiation from the west in a particular. We try to optimize the design in such a way back in the studio only before it goes to the site or construction, so that the end of the day, it is the user comfort we focus on. We're not designing an intelligent building, making it fancy, and trying to add all technology onto it. At the end of the day, how much of value we give back to the user. At the end of the day, how much of value we give back to the developer. Like Kishti ma'am addressed is a challenge to sell the floors on the top, considering the heat radiation, considering the connectivity to the ground, considering the comfort and accessibility. So we are looking at not just providing sensors, not just providing automated elements, but we are looking at providing enough value for the user to buy and to sort of have a comfortable living. And I didn't get your second part of the question. You spoke about something about ethical.
Yeah. What kind of ethical consideration and potential challenges do architectures and designers face while incorporating such smart technologies?
Yeah, I think I have addressed that part. Like it is not just on addressing and providing a smart home. How much of value we give back to the user and the person who's selling. It should be a win-win situation for the developer and the user, and not just marketing gimmick saying we are promoting a smart home, we're selling a smart home, designing a smart home. The user should feel the comfort, and end of the day, we sort of in terms of maintenance. Or after 5 years, like in solar panels, we are having huge maintenance costs, and the domestic market is facing a huge maintenance cost. Burning their pockets on investing on solar. Like when we calculate the interest value, I think it doesn't match with the capital what we invest in. So we are looking at sustainable ways to sort of conserve energy and intelligent ways to save energy, so that the entire high-rise building can benefit out of it.
Thank you so much, Raghav, for sharing your thoughts. Moving on to Mr. Shaikh, with increasing focus on energy efficiency, what are some cutting-edge advancements in building materials, insulations, and HVAC systems that can significantly reduce energy consumption in high-rise buildings?
Akansha, I am not very good in talking about building materials, of course, because we do not belong to the civil background. But as I can see, if I talk about the energy efficiency, HVAC is the biggest culprit in consuming energy, consuming the electricity. So addressing to that issue, there are various technologies available in the market. In fact, few technologies are very conventional. It's not the advanced technology, but very conventional technology, like we talk about cooling water system. In a high-rise building, when we talk about 300 apartments of, say, 3 BHK, 4 BHK, or 5 BHK, we are talking about somewhere around 3,000 or 4,000 ton of air conditioning load. If we implement a simple cooling water technology in that, in which we provide a cooling tower somewhere in the open space, maybe on a podium or somewhere like that, even on the terrace also. And if we just simply supply cooling water to each and every room, and we need to educate the people not to go with the conventional split units. If they simply go with modular water-cooled chillers, they are available nowadays in very, very small capacities. And if they install, generally in a 5 BHK apartment, we use a separate area for the air conditioning machine also. Architects generally dedicate an area. So if we simply put a small modular chiller there, we can reduce the electricity consumption easily by 30 to 35%. And it's a huge saving if I talk about such a big project, such a big high-rise building. So there are many technologies available which we can opt for energy conservation and energy efficiency. It is just that we need to educate the people, and our architects pointed out correctly. We need to change the mindset people's the crowd is so much attached to the conventional system or a typical mindset that they don't want to change. They don't want to adapt new things. So we need to educate them, and we should not address only to the premium sector. It should be for all. Even the SRA projects must have these technologies and these implementations. We can for energy efficiency. Another good thing is solar. It is actually a mandatory subject, but apart from mandate, what is mandate, we can increase the capacity however possible. Here to the extent maximum we can achieve, and definitely we can get the benefit out of it. Even the common areas can be catered effectively from the solar generation, at least in the daytime where we are generating the solar. We need not store the solar energy also. There are a couple of options available where we store the solar energy and use it. And the other option is net metering, where we just generate the solar energy and pass it onto the grid. So that also is effective if I talk about a big project. So we should opt for all these technologies and energy efficiency methods. Definitely, we should do this.
Right. We totally agree with you, Mr. Sheikh. Ms. Pooja, in pursuing sustainable high-rise buildings, what are some groundbreaking design strategies that go beyond conventional green practices, pushing the boundaries of architecture while minimizing environmental impact?
I think Raghav rightly mentioned that, the high rise probably is a product of state of construction technology, where we can explore so much in terms of structures and services that, so there is something we can, take forward and probably use that technology to develop dynamic facades. I mean, that is something which is also like again climate responsive. And apart from that, I guess as Sarfaraz also mentioned, that there are so much of advancement in technologies that all these services, HVAC systems, and everything that can become a wholesome product rather than we still focusing on the conventional methods. So I guess probably the construction services and construction technology services and design can come together to make a innovative high rise, or maybe a bit of breakthrough in how we perceive high rises.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for sharing your inputs. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It was indeed a thoughtful and enlightening discussion.
For viewers who have joined us today, we would like your feedback and encourage you to stay connected with us via our social media handle. ACE Update is available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also download our app from Google Play and App Store. We also request our viewers to stay tuned for future interactions. With that, today's interaction has now come to a close. Thank you and goodbye.